A quiet meeting. Then a shock. The Great Hall of Unity was quiet. Too quiet. Hundreds of alien leaders sat on high platforms waiting. These leaders came from many worlds, some cold and icy, others hot and burning. Their ships were strong. Their weapons were sharp. But today they were not fighting. Today they were watching. Waiting. At the center of the room, a large screen glowed blue. The meeting was about to begin. This was not a normal meeting. Something strange had happened. A new force had appeared in the galaxy, and that force was called humanity. No one had taken humans seriously before. They were from a small blue planet at the edge of a forgotten arm of the galaxy. Their world was called Earth. For years they had stayed silent, never attending council meetings, never joining wars, never making threats. The galaxy thought they were weak, peaceful, slow. But that idea was about to break. Commander Telvon, a leader from the Artress race, tapped his fingers on the glass table. His eyes narrowed as he read the report again. It made no sense. He had seen thousands of ships in his life, warships, spycraft, transport cruisers, but nothing like this. The report said the humans had ships that did not use fuel. No engines, no power cores, no warp drives. They moved like light, yet left no trails. They bent space without machines. One had appeared near the Council's own border world, stayed still in orbit for 7 seconds, then vanished, instantly. Impossible, Telvon muttered. Beside him, a leader from the green-scaled Jalari race hissed. You think the report is real? I don't know, Telvon said. But I do know this. Something has changed. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The screen at the center glowed brighter. A voice spoke. Council leaders, we welcome a new guest. Representing Earth, Commander Ray. There was a murmur in the hall. Many leaned forward. Some laughed quietly. A human? Here, the lights above the hall flickered. Then a figure stepped into the center. It was a human man. Tall, quiet, calm. He wore no armor. No guards followed. Just a simple gray suit. His face showed no fear. He looked around the hall and nodded once. Thank you, he said. We come in peace. But peace needs strength. The room went quiet again. Without warning, the screen behind him changed. A black void appeared. Stars. Then, a shape. A ship. But not a normal one. It looked smooth and white, like flowing metal. It had no engines, no heat trail, no seams. It floated in space like it was a part of the stars. Then it moved. 1 second it was far away. The next it was in orbit above a council world. Gasps rang out in the hall. What is that? Someone whispered. The human turned to the image. That is one of our starships. We call it Echo 1. It does not use fuel. It does not burn. It listens to space, and it moves through folds, not tunnels. Telvon stood up. That breaks all physics. Ships need energy. They need power. The human smiled. Yours do. Another screen lit up. This time 5 ships appeared. All human. All silent. All impossible. Some leaders stood. Some shouted. Others watched in silence, cold fear creeping into their hearts. The human raised a hand. We are not here to threaten, but we are not blind. We know what you think of us. We know the plans made in secret. Telvon clenched his jaw. He had been one of them. He had voted to send a fleet to Earth, a test of strength. He now realized that would have been a mistake. A big mistake. The human's final words echoed through the room like a warning. Humanity has changed. We have moved beyond your machines, beyond your science. Do not test our silence again. The lights flickered. Again. Then the human vanished. No sound, no flash, just gone. And the hall was silent. Utterly silent. Telvon sat back down. He could still see the ship in his mind. Still feel the weight of those words. For the first time in decades, the galaxy trembled. Fear, behind the curtains after the human disappeared, The leaders stayed in the hall, frozen. No one dared to speak. First, one by one, the lights above the council chairs turned off. Ships from different worlds began calling their leaders back home. Even the strongest empires, those with fleets large enough to crush moons, seemed shaken. Behind the shining symbols of unity, fear now moved like a shadow. Telvan did not return to his chamber. Instead, he walked alone to the council archive, deep under the surface of the station. This place held old records, secret scans, hidden messages, things not shared with the public. He needed answers. A soft voice greeted him as the doors slid open. "Accessing restricted files, Commander?" Telvan gave a nod. "Show me all known scans of Earth space, last 3 cycles, especially the unexplainable ones." The screen in front of him lit up. Dozens of reports appeared, strange signals, disappearing probes, ships vanishing near human space, gravity waves that shouldn't exist. He had ignored these before, everyone had, but now, the pieces started to fit together. Telvan leaned in. One probe had sent back a final message before its signal was lost. It had caught a glimpse of something. A shape. Not a full ship, just part of it. A curve of white metal, smooth and perfect. It matched the human ship seen in the council hall. So, they were real. They had been there watching. A message popped up on Telvan's screen. It was from someone unexpected. Counselor Brel, from the stone-skinned Valari, one of the oldest species in the galaxy. "Meet me in the lower chamber." "Urgent." Telvan frowned. The Valari rarely spoke unless they had something serious to say. He hurried to the meeting chamber where he found Brel already waiting, sitting like a statue. The old leader looked up. "You saw it." Telvan nodded. "The ships, the way they moved, they're beyond us." Brel's voice was low. "They didn't build those ships with our science. They crossed a line we never understood." "What line?" Brel tapped the table once, the one between knowing the universe and listening to it. Telvan didn't understand. Brel continued. "We build things to fight the stars. They build with the stars. That's why we're afraid." The silence grew heavy. "Do you know what this means?" Telvan asked. "Yes," Brel said. "It means the balance has changed, and if the Council reacts with pride instead of wisdom, we may not survive the next meeting." Telvan stared at him. "You think the humans will attack?" "No," Brel said quietly. "I think they won't need to." At that moment, across the galaxy, other worlds were having similar conversations. War leaders woke from sleep in panic. Scientists burned their old theories. Spy agencies began hunting every trace of human history, but Earth remained quiet. No more messages. No more ships. Just silence. And that silence was more terrifying than any weapon. Because now everyone knew. If the humans could create ships that should not exist, what else were they hiding? What Earth hid? The galaxy did not sleep. Every empire, every council, every hidden group had only one question now. What else are the humans hiding? From cold mining stations near black holes to warm desert planets full of traitors, the whispers spread. They spoke of the ship that vanished. They spoke of the human who stood alone in the council hall and made every leader feel powerless. Spies were sent. Probes launched. Some returned. Some never did. One probe, launched by the wealthy Golar Union, reached Earth's outer system. It disguised itself as a piece of space junk. Quiet, small, hard to notice. It slipped through defenses, past the moon, past Mars, and drifted into orbit around Earth. For 12 minutes it sent back images. It saw no war fleets, no defense stations. Instead, it saw something strange. Earth didn't look like a planet preparing for war. It looked peaceful. Cities were lit up. Oceans were calm. People walked in parks. Children ran on grass fields. But then the probe saw something below Antarctica. Hidden under layers of ice, a glowing structure. A circle. Large. Alive. Like it was humming. The probe zoomed in. That was a mistake. The signal cut off. Back in. Golar space. The scientists stared at their screen in silence. The last image they received burned into their minds. The glowing circle began to spin, and then the stars around it bent, like a ripple in space. It saw us, one scientist whispered. It turned to us, said another. The Golar Union went silent for 3 days. All missions toward Earth were canceled. One quiet signal was sent to the Council. Do not interfere. They are awake. Meanwhile, on Earth, deep underground, inside a hidden chamber far below a forest, a group of humans sat around a silent table. No one smiled. No one joked. This was not a time for light talk. At the center sat an old man named Elias. His hair was white, his face calm. He spoke slowly. They sent a probe again. It reached too deep. A younger woman asked, "Did we stop it?" Elias nodded. Before it could see the core, someone else whispered, "Should we respond?" "No," Elias said. "Let them wonder. Let their fear grow." "But what if they unite?" another voice asked. "They won't," Elias replied. "They never do. Pride will divide them. Fear will paralyze them." A quiet pause followed. Then Elias stood and walked toward a wall. With one touch, the wall slid open. Behind it stood a smooth white pod. The shape was familiar, just like the ships shown in the council hall. But this one was different. It pulsed. Alive. Breathing. "Is it ready?" Elias asked. One of the engineers nearby nodded. "Yes. It no longer needs us to fly." Another whisper. "It's learning." Elias turned back to the others. "We will not strike, but we will remind them why Earth stayed silent for so long." His hand moved over the pod. "Let them come. Let them see. But let them understand. What we have cannot be unmade." Across the stars, a storm of fear began to form. The council rushed to meet again. War leaders started pushing for action. Some wanted to confront Earth. Some wanted to beg for peace. But none could agree. And while they argued, humanity waited, quiet, watching and preparing for what was next. The council fractures. The council met again, but this time it felt different. No leader entered with confidence. No empire showed off its strength. Every voice was quieter, every face more serious. Even the loudest warlords, the ones who once bragged about their ships and armies, now chose silence. Telvon sat near the center, his eyes watching the room closely. He saw fear on every face, but not the kind of fear that leads to action. This was fear that caused doubt, and doubt spreads fast. One voice finally spoke. It was from Counselor Drex of the Venari Empire, a race known for their logic and cold planning. "We cannot ignore this. The humans possess ships beyond science. We do not understand how they move. They can appear and vanish. They can destroy without firing. If we allow this power to grow, we may all be wiped out." Others nodded. Some grunted in agreement. But then Counselor Lyra, from the peaceful Marine Republic, stood and raised a hand. "You speak of war, but we have no proof of attack. Not one human ship has fired on us. Not one human voice has made a threat." Drex slammed his hand down. "Their existence is the threat." Telvon raised his voice next. "Then what do you suggest? War? Against ships that can move through space without leaving a trace? Against a race that hides not because they are weak, but because they are beyond us?" The room fell silent again. One old leader from a desert world whispered what many were thinking. What if they are not hiding weapons? All heads turned. What if their ships are only the surface? What if what lies underneath is what truly matters? What if they are protecting us by staying quiet? It was a dangerous thought, because it meant everything the galaxy believed about power was wrong. Far from the Council, in a forgotten corner of space, a different ship had just arrived near Earth's border. It was not large, not armed for war. It belonged to a wandering race called the Tharn, traders, explorers, curious. The Tharn did not come to fight. They came to ask. Their captain, a small creature with 6 eyes and soft skin, sat alone in the control room. He looked at the dark screen and spoke softly. To the humans of Earth, and we come not in anger, not in fear, we come to learn. For a long moment there was no reply. Then the stars outside bent. A human ship appeared, no sound, no warning. Just there. The Tharn captain froze. The human ship sent one message. Speak your truth, and we will answer. The Tharn captain took a breath. Why are you silent? Another pause. Then the answer came. Because the galaxy never learned to listen. The Tharn ship was allowed to leave. It was not attacked. It was not scanned. It simply left, shaken, but alive. And when they returned to their home, they brought only one message to share. The humans are not looking to conquer. They are waiting for us to understand. Back in the council, the arguments turned louder. Some still wanted war. Some now begged for peace. And a few, a very few, began to wonder if something even greater was coming. Not just a new enemy, but a new age. The forgotten signal the council had reached a dead end. No vote passed. No side agreed. Half the leaders wanted to prepare fleets. The other half feared that doing so would start something they could never control. And all the while, Earth said nothing. No new messages. No warnings. No threats. Just silence. But silence, in space, was never empty. At the edge of council space, in a small forgotten relay station, something strange happened. A technician, bored and half asleep, was scanning old data logs. Most of them were junk, static, broken signals, old trade records, but one signal caught his eye. It was dated 200 years ago. The signal came from a deep space probe launched by the old Takari Dominion, a race long gone. The probe had traveled far beyond normal space, into the dark between galaxies. It had found something. The signal played only one sentence before it cut off. The technician sat straight up. He played it again. We found a world of light. A world that listens, and it spoke back. He ran the coordinates. He checked the charts. The world the probe had found was Earth. But that couldn't be right. 200 years ago, humans weren't even part of galactic maps. So how did that signal match Earth's space? The technician quickly sent the log to the central archive. Then he locked the terminal and left the station, his heart racing. Back on Earth, deep below the planet's surface, Elias stood before a wall made of pulsing energy. On the other side, a massive sphere floated. It had no gravity, no material. Just light and motion spinning slowly. This was not built by humans. It had been found long ago. Elias looked at the engineers around him. Any reaction from the outer systems? Yes, one answered. The old signal was found. They know someone contacted us before they knew we existed. Elias sighed. Then it begins. Another engineer spoke. Do we activate the archive? Not yet, Elias said. The galaxy isn't ready. But they're getting close. He touched the glowing wall. Let them feel the weight of the truth first. Let them see that we did not create this power. We were chosen by it. Meanwhile, the council exploded into chaos. The report of the old signal had reached every leader. Some believed it. Some called it fake. But all of them were shaken. The idea that Earth had been known to something long before their rise scared them deeply. Telvon stood before the council again. This time he didn't ask for peace, he didn't ask for war. He asked for truth. We have spent lifetimes believing we are the center of the stars, that we understand what power is. But what if power chose another? He paused, letting the silence settle. What if the humans were not silent because they feared us, but because they feared what we would do if we learned the truth too soon? That silence was heavier than any war, and while the galaxy asked questions, Earth waited. Again, Not in fear but in patience, because humanity already knew. The stars were listening, and soon they would answer. What lies beneath? The sphere deep below Earth had no name. It had no doors, no control panels, no wires or metal. Just light, soft, flowing, and alive. Elias stood in front of it again. He had been visiting it for years, studying it, learning from it, but he still didn't fully understand what it was, or where it came from. No one did, but they knew what it could do. Long ago, when the humans first found it, they tried to break it open. Lasers, drones, energy fields, nothing worked, nothing touched it. Then one day it spoke, not with words, but with thoughts. It showed them images, places beyond the galaxy, shapes of life that didn't match any known form, and a message. You are the last to listen, but not the last to rise. It had shown humanity how to build the first ship, not using engines, not using fire, but by folding the space between places, listening to the waves of the stars, not pushing through them. That ship was called Echo 1, and that ship had changed everything. But the humans had built more, hidden in orbit, inside cloaked stations. Beneath oceans, new ships were growing. Not just machines now, not just tools, but living extensions of the sphere's knowledge. They moved when called, they hid when needed, and they watched. On a council world, panic had spread. Leaders no longer trusted each other. One empire had already moved a fleet close to Earth's border. Not to attack, not yet, but to watch, maybe intimidate. They thought showing power would force the humans to talk. They were wrong. From Earth, no fleet was launched, no warning was sent. Only one ship appeared. Slowly. Silently. It moved past the Empire's fleet like a whisper. Sensors couldn't scan it. Energy weapons didn't lock on. It drifted past thousands of warships like they didn't exist. And then it vanished. One of the admirals on the alien flagship fainted. His heart couldn't take the pressure of being near something that didn't obey the laws of space. Back at the council, everyone got the same report. The human ship ignored us. It could have destroyed us. But it didn't. It just passed through. Telvon read the report again. His hands were shaking. He now believed what Elias had said in the council days before. Earth didn't build a weapon. Earth discovered a truth, and that truth had changed them. In the dark space above Earth, inside one of the secret orbit stations, a group of humans stood in front of a console. One of them looked up. "The fleets are watching," she said. "They think we're hiding. Armies." "We are," Elias answered quietly. "But not to fight them." "Then why?" Elias stepped forward and pressed his hand to the console. The screen lit up, not with data, but with a field of stars. Dozens, hundreds, and near the edge, a blinking red light. "That," he said, pointing to the light, "is coming toward the galaxy. Fast." The others leaned closer. The red light was not a ship, not a signal. It was a tear. In space. In reality. Elias turned. The sphere didn't come to teach us war. It came to warn us. Something is coming. Something no fleet can stop. And we are the last ones left who can prepare. There was silence in the room. "Do we tell the council?" someone asked. Elias gave a long look. "They won't believe us, not yet." He turned back to the stars. "But they will soon." The stars began to break. The red tear moved closer. Not a ship, not a life form, not a weapon. It was a wound in space, wide, growing, and unstoppable. It pulled light inward. It bent time around it. Anything that got close simply disappeared, like it was swallowed, and it was heading toward the center of the galaxy, toward everything. In the council hall, chaos ruled. Dozens of screens showed the same image. The tear. Some still refused to believe it was real. Others shouted that the humans caused it. Telvon stood, eyes cold and tired. If humans created it, they would have used it. Counselor Lyra stood beside him. They warned us in silence. They waited hoping we would ask the right question. We didn't. The Valari elder Brel finally spoke. Then the only question that matters now is, can they stop it? On Earth, under the glowing sphere, Elias stood still. The sphere was brighter now, hotter. It pulsed with each second like a heart. Its color shifted with the tier's approach. Blue, then white, then red. Behind him the room was full. Engineers, leaders, pilots, all human. No weapons were drawn, no orders for war, just waiting. Elias turned to them. It's time. The floor opened. 10 white ships rose from the underground bay, shaped like flowing wind, silent and smooth. Each ship had no engine, no fire, just purpose. The light from the sphere stretched toward the ships, touching each one. They are ready, someone whispered. No, Elias said. We are. The humans didn't contact the council, they didn't ask for help. They simply launched. One by one, the ships rose into the black sky. The stars above bent as they moved, not through space, but around it. Within seconds they were gone, headed straight for the tear. The council saw it all. Their own ships couldn't even follow. They've gone into it, a voice said. Into the tear. What will happen to them? No one knew. For 3 days there was silence. No signal, no light, nothing. Then, on the 4th day, something changed. The tear stopped growing. It began to shrink. Slowly, slowly. And then, it closed. Gone. The stars returned. The black sky became calm again. One signal came through. A simple voice. Elias. The tear is sealed, but the danger is not gone. It waits in the dark. It is old. It will return. Another pause. This galaxy must learn to listen, not just to machines and power, but to what is hidden beneath. We did not stop it because we were strong. We stopped it because we listened. Then silence again. In the council hall, no one spoke. The galaxy had changed. Not through war, not through power, but through understanding. The humans had not saved the galaxy with fire. They had saved it with what no other race had ever dared to trust, a whisper from the stars.